so my name is Kate. I'm going to be going over print marketing with you guys today. If you have questions throughout, feel free to drop those in the chat. I will try to check that periodically. If I miss your question or skip over it, I will come back to those at the end, just to make sure we get through all of our content today. So getting started, the first thing that you want to do for today's class, if you're following along, is go to Command. You can access Command by going to agent.kw.com. I'll go ahead and throw that in the chat as well. Once you're there, you'll log in with your username and password. Keep in mind the username is not case sensitive, so if you're missing a capital letter, it's not going to prevent you from logging in. However, password is case sensitive. If you're copying and pasting your password and it's giving you an error, we do recommend hitting that little eyeball so you can see your password. Even a space before or after your password will prevent you from logging in. So just make sure that's correct, and go ahead and hit sign in. All right, now once we are signed in, don't worry if yours looks a little different from mine. Those are customizable. But for today's class, we are going to skip over this and we're going to head straight into designs. So for today's class, the first thing I want to show you guys is how to update your assets. Updating your assets just allows you to pull in logos, photos, any type of text, things like that a little bit easier without having to download, upload, all of that good stuff. So to access our assets, we're going to first go to Import Design. And once we hit Import Design, this is going to load for us, and we're going to be in My Projects. Now, yours might look a little different from mine. These are various projects I've done over the course of me having Command. So if you don't have any, that's totally fine. For today, starting though, we're going to take a look at this one next to projects, which is called Assets. Once we click there, you'll notice there are Keller Williams Realty assets, and then you also have My Assets. So for Keller Williams Realty, they have plugged in some things for you guys that will automatically pop up for you to utilize on your designs. For example, colors and fonts, they have various colors that go with their logos and things like that. Those are basically the Keller Williams colors. They also have some text included, or fonts included. For images, you'll notice that they have a ton of stock options. So you can find stock images for pretty much any design you might be trying to create by looking through here. You can also search for those up here if you want to search for a specific kind of image. You can also check out the various folders. So Market Expert, they're going to have their own with different data. If you go back, miscellaneous, we'll let those load. They're just going to have basically some various like real estate targeting images, in my opinion. Holidays, you can find all of the various holidays coming up. House interiors, you also have exteriors. If you're trying to create a graphic for people to download and use your app, you have that one here. If we go back, lifestyle, it is geared towards home still, just based on what you're probably going to be creating. It's going to have various different photos there. Lifestyle activities. And again, just what's showing here, that's not going to be everything. You can, again, search for whatever you might be looking for. I'm going a little bit slow here today. There we go. And then we also have neighborhoods. So just take a look at that real quick. Gosh, I don't know if it's Command or my internet. Hopefully it's just Command. So again, different various neighborhood type photos that you might want to use for any kind of design or graphic you're creating. So those are their stock images. Next, we have text. So for Keller Williams Realty, the only thing that they have is each office is independently owned and operated. Next, we have logos. So you'll find that they have the various different logos you might need to use for events. I think it's just Red Day. Luxury, that's your luxury logos. Miscellaneous is going to be your equal housing opportunity, your NAR logo. Labs, and then KW, they're going to have some generic Keller Williams logos for you guys to utilize. If we go back, we then find elements. Elements are basically going to be icons or symbols that you're using on a regular basis. Again, KW has a few for like email, website, things like that. If you have any videos you'd like to include in assets or files, they have their design guide and style guide for their text and font and colors. We won't wait for that to load. We're actually going to jump into my assets. So you also have the option to create your own assets that you can use on all of your designs. So if you have a set color scheme, palette, fonts that you like to use for yourself, if you're really trying to brand your business, you can set up your own color palettes and fonts that you use throughout the majority of your marketing. You can even upload fonts or search for fonts on the web. Images, this is a great place for you to add headshots. Or any other images for yourself or your team that you might use on a regular basis. That will allow you to easily pull those into your designs without having to upload them every time. Text, this is great for your website, for your app link, things like that that you may not want to type out every single time. Office addresses and licenses, disclaimers, again, anything like that that you may be using on a regular basis that you want to go ahead and have as a text asset. Again, I think it's great for your website and your branded app link because who wants to remember your link every time you need to use it on something. Again, logos. This is where you can pull in your market center specific logos, or if you have team logos or branded logos for yourself, you can upload them here. While we're here, I'm going to show you guys real quick how you can locate your market center specific logos if you don't have those already. So in order for us to do that, I'm actually going to go to kwconnect.com. Now, I do want to point out that KW Connect is different from the Connect that is within Command. So let me just pull up Command for 1 second to show you guys what I'm talking about. There is the Connect option here in Command. That is not the same thing as KW Connect currently. They may be eventually migrating all of that same information to be within Command, but currently this is primarily just for learning and classes, whereas KW Connect is going to have a little bit more. So in order for us to find the logos that we're looking for, we're going to hover over resources and go down to marketing. And once we're in marketing, you're going to notice the very top option is going to be logos and branding. So we're going to click on that. And once that's loaded, we'll take a look at the various logos we can find there. Gosh, I apologize for everything kind of going slow today. All right, so now you'll notice we're on the logos and branding. It's going to have that style guide and everything that was also in the assets. You'll notice here there's Market Center logos where you can download your own Market Center specific logos. And then down below, there are additional KW generic logos. So not just the ones that were in the assets already, but there are more. So if you ever want to find those and use those, you can do that here. But back up to the Market Center logos. You basically just search by either a market center number or name. So I'm just going to pick a number today. We're going to do 65. Once you do that, you'll find your specific market center that you're looking for. I'm going to take a look at Cherry Hill here, 653. So we can preview that logo. And it's going to show us that specific logo. Once we viewed it, made sure it's the right one, we can then hit the download option right next to that. And when that downloads to your computer, we can open that. I'm sorry, my Zoom browser keeps getting in my way. We can then open that folder. And I'm going to go ahead and hit extract. And then once I have done that, I can then find my new folder. And you'll notice that there's a bunch of different folders within that. The primary two that we're going to take a look at are these top two, so black and white and the CMYK. So if we take a look at the black and white, you'll notice that we have a ton of different logo variations. So different formats, different colors. You have one with a white background behind it, and you also have the ones with transparent backgrounds. So for black and white, you'll notice you have the gray and black, all white. And then you also have the white and light gray. So you can then upload those, and we'll go through that as well. But we're going to go back for just a second and take a look at the colored logos. And then you'll also notice we have the colored logos. So we have the one with the background behind it, as well as the transparent background. And then we have the white and gray. So this comes in handy if you're using a really dark background or gray background, like when I'm hovering over this, you can't see the lettering. So in that case, it may be better to use a logo like this that is white. So that's the reason they have the different variations, so that you can find those and use what works best for you. If you miss how to find the logos, I can come back to that at the very end. So if you want to hang around, we'll come back. Or you can find the recording, whatever works easiest. So now that we have our logos, I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. And then I'm going to show you guys how we can add those to our assets. So you'll notice I have a couple of folders. I upload different logos each time I teach this class. So you can have folders, or you can just add them here to the same one. For today, I'm going to go ahead and create a folder. I'm going to call it Cherry Hill. And once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and open that and upload those logos there. So I'm going to find those from my device. Cherry Hill's the first one that comes up. I'm going to grab all of these logos. And then I'm going to hit add more. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go back and grab all those colored logos as well. Now that I have those, you'll see I have 7 files selected that I'm uploading. I can go ahead and hit that upload option. And now I have all of my logos here, easy for me to access and add to my various different designs that I'm creating. Next, we have the elements. Again, same thing. If you have specific icons or symbols that you're using on a regular basis, say they're similar to the ones up here, but maybe a different color, you can keep those in your assets down here. Videos that you may want to use on a regular basis, and any files, PDF that you want to include, you can also put those here. Now that we've covered the assets, we're going to take a step back and go into actually creating those designs now. So you can do this a couple of ways. We can go back to command, or if we come to projects where we were at, we can start there. So if you're under designs and you want to get started, I'll show you the various ways just because depending how you want to do it. If you hit create a design here, for today's class, we're going to focus on print materials. We do have classes that go over the other 3, so you can definitely check those out on another video, but today we're doing print. Once we do that, it's going to bring us into templates. So I could have just gone into, and actually it took me back to projects. It should bring you here. So again, you can also access that from here by clicking on that templates button. So super easy to access. Once we're there, you're going to notice we have a ton of different categories, and each category is going to have its own set of designs. That's not to say that if you like a coming soon graphic or design, you can't use it for an open house. You can edit these and manipulate these to however you would like to use them. So don't think that just because it's for just listed or just sold, it can only be used for those. But for today, we're going to take a look at, let's do open house actually. We'll do listing and we'll take a look at open house. Now you'll notice once we're in our open house design, it's going to have all of these different bubbles up here. These are going to give you the different sizes based on what you're trying to create. So we said that we're doing print materials. Usually we'd want to use like a flyer or a bifold, trifold, postcard. You can even do a door hanger if you'd like to print those and make those yourself. However you'd like to do that, it's going to give you the various different designs for that specific size. So if we're wanting to create an open house sheet or an open house feedback form, you can do all of that from right here. So once we pick one that we like, I'm just going to select one. So we'll go ahead and use this one. When we hit use, it's going to bring us into the design, the We Brand editor. So this is going to allow us to go ahead and edit our design. You'll notice that you can go back to templates. You have images, text, logos, elements, KWLS. You can add animation. However, since we're creating this for print, animation is not going to work for today. And you also have support. Now, within each of those, you'll also notice that you have different subcategories up here. So for images, when you're in the stock, that's going to bring you all of those stock images. When you're in workspace, it's going to give you the KWRI assets that we took a look at previously. And then when you're in My Assets, it's going to show you the assets that are under that specific category. So when I'm looking at assets, it's only showing me my assets currently within images. Same for text. It's going to have, if I want to add, if I want to include a banner, these are just different kinds of fun text. The KWRI assets and then my assets. So again, all of those are going to have those different subcategories within. So keep that in mind when you're looking for something. Your logos are not going to show up in the assets under images. So if you're not seeing what you're looking for, you may be under the wrong category. Moving along to going ahead and editing this. I'll just kind of go through the various different things first, and then we'll actually dive into it. So you'll notice when we're clicked off of it, you have drawing, shapes, frames, and text. So that will allow you to go ahead and utilize those. If you're clicked onto it, an item though, it's not going to have those. And it's going to give you some different options. If we're wanting to replace the photo for this, we're going to come back to this, but we will swap out that photo. We'll go ahead and edit the contact information first since we're under images. So if we click on the image of the agent in this example, and then we find the photo that we want to use. So we'll go ahead and grab Scott's. If we do the replace image, which is two arrows going towards each other, it's going to put that photo perfectly in that little frame that was already there. Now that's not to say I can't resize it if I want to make it a little bigger because it's kind of tiny. I can also move this up a little bit. Totally up to you here on how you size that. You can also double click on that image and you can make yourself bigger within that. So this is kind of personal preference, however you like that to look. Once you've dragged that to where you want it and you have it cropped the way you'd like, for this specific thing, you have to click done for it to save that. So it's a little different from if you're resizing this way. If you're cropping the image, you do have to hit that done. Once we've added that photo, we can move on to our text. There's a couple of ways you can edit text. You can either double click and highlight. We can go ahead and type Scott. Or if you'd like to click on that and then find the typewriter up here, you can click on that. It will open a box and you can then type there. Once you're done, you hit save changes. It's going to go ahead and update that right away. If we're moving on to phone number, we can then click on text and go to those assets. Again, if we want to easily swap those out without typing, we can do replace and it will plug that in. Email, same thing. We can go ahead and find that and replace. Every once in a while, you'll notice that it doesn't quite fit. So you just want to expand that and then readjust it to where it's centered for you. This is where having that app link comes in handy. I don't have an app link, so I don't have one. I'm going to go ahead and plug in a website instead. Oops. There we go. And again, just a little bit big for that specific text box. So I'm just going to drag that over and then recenter. Once I have everything there, I can move on to the logo. So the logo is kind of the same way. I can once I click on it, sometimes it's a little tricky to click on because it's within another box. There we go. So again, I can find my logos here. So if I want to do the Cherry Hill, I can go ahead and replace that, and it will put it in that exact same space. Now, if I hit the plus sign, it's going to add that logo to the flyer again. I could do that, delete this one, and then resize this, but in my opinion, it is way easier to just go ahead and replace that. Now, if I did want to still resize it, I absolutely could by dragging that over. That is completely up to you how you like that. You can edit any of this text that you'd like to. Now, once we're done with that specific section, we can move on to editing the rest of it. So we can pull in our listing photos and things like that by using the KWLS. Now, we do recommend when pulling in a listing from the MLS that you use MLS number. The reason for that being is it's going to pull up what you're looking for a little bit faster and save you some time. You've got to keep in mind when you're using this category or this search, it's pulling from every MLS. So it's definitely going to be easier to just search your MLS number. I don't have an MLS number handy, so I'm just going to pull by its address. I'm just going to type 123 Main Street and see what we can pull up. Oops. I guess it's going to make me sign in again. Interesting. Give me one sec, guys. Does not usually make me sign in again, so I'm not sure why it's doing that today, but that's okay. All right. Sorry, I just had to pull in my password there. All right, so now that I've entered in my logins again, it's going to start pulling those listings up. Obviously, again, I'm searching by address, so it's pulling up every address that has that similar address. If I wanted to find mine faster, again, I would recommend using that MLS number. So I'm just going to grab one for today. We're going to select this one here. Now you'll notice once that loads, it's going to have all of the listings information and pictures from the actual MLS. So I can start swapping those in. Again, you just hit the replace. It's going to put it into that box. And then I can double click and resize that the way that I would like it to show on that picture. So if I want to crop out that number, I can do that and hit done. I can then pull in my additional photos. And then I can also get all of my listing details from there as well. So this is going to act as the assets in a sense for the text, but it's going to have all of the information from the MLS. So I can pull in the address, replace. I can pull in all of the other information too. It should have everything on here, so I can just swap those in. Obviously, if you're doing a open house or something like that, you would want to make sure all of your information is accurate. Obviously, I don't know, just pulling this up, that this is accurate, but definitely make sure that is the case. But I can just replace all of that information super easily from the listing information. Once I've done that, I can also edit my text up here. So obviously my open house is not going to be March 29th. We'll go ahead and put, what is this for Sunday? 21st. We will put first. We'll just leave it 11 to 2. Now, obviously my box is not long enough, so I can resize that, or I could change my font size if I wanted to and make it smaller. Personal preference there. You can edit this over here. These little dots, sometimes people don't like these. If those bother you and you don't like them, you can just click on them and delete. But otherwise you can go ahead and leave them there. You also have your text down here you'll want to edit. I won't go through editing the entire thing, but once you're done and you have your flyer exactly how you want it, you can then download that from here. You can download it as a PDF standard or PDF for printing. The difference there is the PDF for printing is going to give you those bleed areas and the safe area so that you know all of your text and everything is not going to be cut off. So however you want to do that, if you want to print it in the office or at a local printing company, you can also order prints if you have enough time. You can do that through Command itself, and it will allow you to go through all of those steps to go ahead and purchase that through there. If there are no questions, just checking the chat real fast. You could also download this as a JPEG or PNG and use it for Facebook or social media, however you'd like as well. One other thing I like to share is you can also do the share option, and you can change this to anyone with the link, copy that link, and then if you're to open a new browser, so if you wanted to share that link with your flyer or your graphic, they can open that on their own page. It'll look kind of like a digital pamphlet. And this can be done with all of the different print materials as well. We'll kind of take a look at that with the listing presentation. I don't know the exact cost of print or turnaround time, but I can try to look for that at the end for you. But once we're done with the flyer, again, we can go ahead and hit done. It should save everything for us. So if we like that design, and we want to use it for another open house in the future, it should put that into my designs. It seems to just be taking a minute for it to add that. See if we click out of designs and come back. Oh, still not there. It should go ahead and put that in there though, so that we can easily find it and re-edit it for another time. You can also search by specific designs and pull them up that way. Interesting that it's taking a while. Doesn't usually take that long, so hopefully yours won't either. Moving right along though, we're going to take a look at the listing presentation now. So if we go back to create and print, we go to next, we'll wait for that to load. Sometimes it will take a little bit longer to load if they're doing updates or something like that on the back end. It's best to just be patient and let it finish loading. Otherwise, sometimes you can cause errors and things like that. So just hang tight for a second. It usually doesn't take too long. If it does, go ahead and hit that refresh button and it will usually clear it. For listing presentations, you can find those under listing, and there will be listing presentation here. I do want to point out you can also find buyer presentations. So if you're looking for either of those two, you can come here and find them. Once you're here, you can find the one that you like the best. Keep in mind, there is going to be quite a bit of editing for these when you first get started, but once you've created one, the editing should be a lot less. But when you find one that you like, you'll just hit that use option. Now, one thing I like to point out, you'll notice these have multiple pages because they have a little box up here that says 9+ with multiple pages. You'll also notice when I'm hovering over that, it's going to flip through those pages. If we're on just a standard image, it's not going to have that number up there when we hover over it. This one does, because this is a door hanger, so you're doing front and back. Same for these, they're postcards. You'll notice it says 2, and it's going to go between those 2 pages. But for listing presentation, it has quite a few more pages. So we're going to just take a look at this one here. I just grabbed one. Again, kind of look through them, find the one that you like the best. Once we're there, you'll notice here in the bottom right, it's going to have pages. If we click on that, it's going to show us all of the pages. So this particular listing presentation has 29 pages for us to go through. We're not going to go through every single page. Some of them do need quite a few edits and some are just super simple. But do make sure you go through every page. In fact, this second page is kind of meant to be deleted. This is telling you it's designed for you to customize however suits you. You can add and delete pages It says carefully review all of the written content, so you're aware what it says, all of that good stuff. So just make sure you're going through this kind of with a fine-tooth comb before you actually start printing it and using it. Moving to the next page, this is going to be edited kind of the same way. You can pull in the listings, you can edit the client's name when you're making it for them. You can add all of your contact information. Again, if we go to text and assets, every once in a while, you guys, if you haven't done something in a while, it may give you these pop-up guided tours. You can either hit next or you can skip those entirely. You'll notice I have two right now. I'm going to go ahead and skip this one. Maybe it's kind of stuck there. But we're just going to plug this one in. Plug in all of our website information. Now, here's where this can sometimes not work in your favor. You'll notice this has website and email. If I'm replacing it with a website, it's not also going to put in my email. I'm going to have to manually replace that. So in some of these cases, it may be easiest for you to just type it or replace one and type the other. Or create that text box that has all of those. I may refresh my page because this does not seem to be going away. Let's try this again. All right, there we go. Now it's gone. So again, if it's multiple text within that same text field, you may just want to manually edit that. Again, you can do that by double clicking or using that typewriter feature. This is where you'll want to be careful. You do want to make sure you replace every logo throughout. Again, we're going to pull in the Cherry Hill, and I'm going to go ahead and just replace that. Once this page is good, I've replaced everything that I would like to replace on there. I can go ahead and move to my next page. I gotta hit that done option. So next page, information on the property. Again, if you don't want all of these pages, feel free to delete them or remove. You can delete them or add by clicking on those three dots. So you can duplicate the page, say you need multiples that look the same, or you can delete that page altogether. So I'm going to come up here and go ahead and delete this one just to show you what that looks like. It's going to confirm that you want to delete that. You go ahead and hit yes, and it will remove that. Now you have 28 pages. Now this is why you want to go through this kind of with a fine-tooth comb. This page has a logo, however, this one does not. But if we keep going through, we're going to find other places where that logo exists or personal information. So you want to make sure all of that is updated. This is where you enter their property information. If you'd like to give more information on the property, you can do that here. Comparable properties that you've found. Moving to the next one. Your needs come first. So this is where you can kind of go over your value and what the process looks like. Now, again, your process may look different from what's included here. So you want to go through that and edit that. You can also obviously delete. If you have additional boxes that don't belong, you can go ahead and delete those. Your custom marketing plan that you offer. Then we have finding your buyer. Some of these you can't edit too much. You may have to just replace that entire thing with another image. So just keep that in mind. Promotional assets. This is just kind of going over all of the various marketing options you have to help promote their listing, as well as media, like social media. Strategic promotion. So again, one that either you can remove the entire page or customize based on what you do with your business. Your open house strategy. It's all in the details. So this is just going over, eye-catching yard signs, that you door knock, things like that. Again, recommend not putting anything in there that you don't actually do for your business. This is where you can pull in how long you've been in the business, clients that you've served. If you're a brand new agent, you can sometimes use your market center's information for some of this. So you can definitely check with them. But again, that's totally up to you. This is another place you want to make sure you swap out that logo. Hit the little replace. Include all of your agent information as well as your photo. We'll go ahead and replace again. Also, if you don't see your photo on a page that you would like it on, you can add that as well. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Also, if you don't like the size of this, you can definitely make that picture bigger in the bottom. This is just kind of where your personal preference comes into play. Keep going. So for example, say that you wanted to add your agent information to this page. You could definitely do that. You have to figure out where you'd like to add it. But if you want to add it to look similar to this, you could probably copy and paste this, or you can just add that information yourself. So this is where I like to point out the frames. Now, again, I can only access the frames when I'm not clicked on the page or a piece of the contents of the page. So if I click off in this white space, I can find the frames. Now, frames are going to allow me to put a photo into that frame, and it's going to put it in that exact circle, the same as it was doing with the others. So I could then go ahead and replace the image, and it's going to put that photo right into that perfect little circle, and then I can resize that. So that's one of the reasons I like to point out the frames. Otherwise, your photo is just getting stuck on there as a full image. As you can see, it's not going into a cute little circle. So that is just however you want it to show. If you want it to be a square, that's totally fine too. But there are all of those various different frames that you can use for different things. Say you're creating a Valentine's Day graphic that you're posting and you want to put your face in a cute little heart, you can totally do that. Maybe not like that though. Yep, that photo may not work. But you could put like your listing or something like that in a cute little frame as well, or any of the frames that you'd like to use. So yeah, you can also add your own text again by coming to add text. It'll give you those options. Looks like it's having a hard time loading. Oh, I'm under images. So I can go ahead and add that text there as well. And obviously that's way too big, so I could have picked one of the other sizes, or I can just size that down. Like my drag and drop slug. So we will just make that a lot smaller and then just drag it to where we want to. So you can use any of these. These are going to be obviously bigger subtitle body text. It's going to insert an entire body of text for you to type in. Our next page, credentials that you may have gotten. If you don't have any, again, this may be a page that you want to remove, or you may want to add some of your Market Center's credentials or awards. Leading the industry. Then any houses that you've previously listed, again, a page that you can remove if you don't have any. There's some more featured listings. Let's go through each of these pages. Representing your home. So these are going to be client testimonials that you can add. Again, something you may want to remove temporarily until you have some if you are a newer agent. Your promise. Selling safely. The bottom line, and we're getting close to the end. My app. So this allows them to download the app so they can search for properties. Again, you'll want to make sure that you go through this, replace your actual branded link with that one there, and then your information on the back as well. Another place that if you'd like to include your photo, it's not there, but you can definitely add it if you want to. You can also go ahead and replace that logo. Now, once you're done, again, you can order these. You can print them locally or in your office, however you choose to. Let's say that you went to the listing presentation. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really good about losing paper as soon as I leave something or walk out the door. So if you want to also share it virtually with them after your meeting, you can do the same thing with this link. Make sure it's on anyone with the link can view it, and you can copy that link and open it in a new browser. So you could email this over to them with their information and you'll notice that it is a digital booklet. So I really love this feature. Again, I'm the queen of losing paper. So if I have it in my email, I can easily find it and access it after the fact. So a great way to share it. You can also download, print, share, etc. That is our listing presentation. We do have a little bit of time left if anyone has any additional questions. Otherwise, you go ahead and hit done. Again, you download the same way as a PDF or a PDF for print. And once we're done, we're all done. If there are no questions, you guys feel free to jump off. You can have, 17 minutes back of your day. If you do have questions, though, feel free to drop those in the chat and I can kind of go over those with you guys. You're welcome. I'll go ahead and stop recording just in case anyone has questions.